Well, now, these are 6 industries that make people rich. And by the way, you'll be shocked when I share the 6 of them. You'll be like, oh my goodness, I didn't even notice that. These are the industries that you can start a business on. And I know most of you do ask me, hey, Joseph, I have 100K, I have 200, I have a million, 10, 15, 20, whatever. And you've been asking me, hey, what business can I start? By the way, if you can be able to tailor down your business based on these areas, based on these industries that I'm about to share with you, you can actually do great. And I'm going to share with you my favorite at the tail end of this particular video. So you better watch it to the end. Again, I got my phone here. Make sure that I verify everything. Make sure that I don't leave any stone unturned. This is Good Joseph, in case you're watching me for the first time and you're wondering, hey, who is this guy? I make videos about investment, money, savings, and anything related to that. And by the way, I upload a video each and every day. So make sure that you hit that subscription button, turn that notification bell so that you'll be notified whenever I do exactly that. Let's get on the business, all right? See, the business or the industry number one. This one does not need any introduction. You know it very well, but there is a bit of a shortcoming, okay, or a disadvantage. The first industry, oh, my pen is actually refusing to work with me. The first industry is what we call the real estate. This one does not need any introduction. Definitely, when you say about real estate, can be actually buying parcels of lands and reselling. You can actually buy some apartments and doing the Airbnbs. You can buy apartments to rent them out. You can buy, houses. You can build houses to sell and what have you. But I know not everyone will have the financial muscle to actually do this, because this one is what we need. It's actually what we call a capital intensive. It's a capital intensive investment. What does it mean? It requires a very huge amount of money for you to get into this industry. But there is always a way whereby you can get into the real estate by using, allow me to use this description due to lack of a better word. You can use the back door to actually do what? Get to the real estate. Instead of getting to the real estate as we know it, buying a parcel of land and building, reselling and doing such, you can actually get into something called REITs, whereby you buy shares of the companies that actually invest in real estate, and where you can start with as low as $50 and you're good to go. So real estate, it's an amazing area. It's an amazing industry that has been proven by time. This one, again, as I said at the beginning, does not need any introduction. You already know it. Back in your country or your village or your city, you can actually spot out some guys who are either real estate agents, real estate moguls, or real estate billionaires and such kind of things, okay? So real estate, it's an industry that you do not question it. You can get into it and you can be able to make some cash. Are we together? Let's go to the second one that I am in personally, okay? Which is finance. I'm telling you, if there is an industry that has money, is finance. Finance. And I know you're like, okay, how can I then get into the world of finance? How can I make money? Well, in the world of finance, there are a variety of things that you can do. You can offer financial consultancy, financial coaching. You can also offer what we call, asset management. You can also offer a variety of services as far as the finances are concerned. There's some things that you know here and there as far as the finance. Basically what I'm doing right now. See, I'm sharing this information with you because you might have some cash there. You're confused, don't know what business to start. You don't know how to organize your investment portfolio. You don't know how to plan yourself as far as the retirement is concerned. You would like to achieve the financial freedom, as people call it. You don't know how to go about it. Hey, you earn this amount of money. Sometimes you wonder, where does your money go? How can you actually organize that amount of money you earn in a month? How can you be able to caution yourself from the inflation that you're facing, for the financial torsions and financial vibrations and what have you? You don't even know, how can I prepare for the education of my kids in future? You don't know, how exactly can I handle the black tax? How can I handle my family members? How can I also grow myself and such kind of things, like, all those kind of things. The finances, the world of finance, it's actually it has a lot of areas whereby you can you can teach people how to do the, let's say you're watching this video, you are a tax expert. You can teach people, you can teach companies, you can coach companies, you can direct them as far as the taxes are concerned, how to organize their taxes and what have you. So listen, finance, it has an array of things that you can be able to pick and be able to dwell into that. For example, personally, I deal with the personal finance. There are people who are very good at, say, economies. They are very good at advising the countries, how they are supposed to get themselves into, better finances and what have you. So there are a variety of things that you can get yourself into the world of finances. Well, and of course, if you have some cash, you can go ahead and start a bank. Then you can start an organization or something like that. Like in the area of finance, you have a lot of things that you can be able to get yourself into it. But the more logical way you can get, some business out of this is be a coach, be a financial advisor, be an asset manager, offer some expertise as a freelancer into that, and that way you can be able to make some cash out of that. So it's an industry, obviously it is very, very lucrative. And I won't lie, I will tell you the truth. You realize that no matter what country you go, the industry of real estate, the finance, and another ones that I'm going to share with you as we move on, you realize that there is a lot of money to be made in these industries, as far as you can be able to know what to do and where to go so that you can offer those services. All right, we go to the point number 3 on the industry number 3, and the industry number 3 is logistics. Okay, logistics. What is logistics? Logistics is basically facilitation of movement of goods and people from one place to the other. If you can be able to offer those services, okay, movement of either goods and people from one place to the other, that is, if you can get yourself some, say, trucks, you can get yourself some any movement or any kind of things like clearing and forwarding and what have you. Logistics is quite of an industry that you can get yourself. Again, this may appear as if it's a what? It's a capital intensive, because obviously, let's say you are moving, say, products, let's say construction materials from one point to the other. Well, that may be actually a bit heavy because you may not have the cash to start. But how about you actually offer yourself like a logistics officer? Okay. Personally, I've ever worked as a logistics officer somewhere. Not really as an employment, but there's somewhere where I was offering that. See, it's whereby you offer a harmony between, movement, communication between bodies from one part to the other. You offer that communication, you offer that home. And listen, you can actually get into the logistics business indirectly. How do you do that? Let's say, for example, you know what needs to be taken where, and there is a company who has, say, the trucks, and there is a company who needs to take a product from, say, from one point to the other. You can plant yourself in between them. You'd be like, I know who needs this truck, and of course I know who needs this truck to be working. And therefore, it goes ahead and you can be able to plant yourself in there, and you can be able to offer the facilitation as far as the logistics are concerned. As you grow your financial muscles, then later you can get yourself some trucks and get yourself into the business holistically. And that is exactly how you do it. I'm telling you, personally, I can spot out several guys who have actually grown well using the logistics things, okay? Clearing and forwarding, moving one product to the other and such kind of a thing, okay? Maybe clearing and forwarding may mean a different thing, but see, logistics is an industry whereby you can get yourself into and be able to make quite of a good amount of money. Just like I said, if you don't have a huge chunk of cash, get yourself some places whereby, okay, I'm avoiding to use the term broker, because broker usually have a very negative term or negative sort of connotation with the majority of the people. But you can get yourself into that. Just connect people who needs logistic services and those who have that particular trucks and whatever, and you get yourself a business. Then that is exactly how you get into the logistics business. Okay, now we go to the fourth one. Hope you have subscribed, and go ahead and hit that subscription button. Okay, my last two will be the best. Okay, the third one, or rather the fourth one, is the technology industry. Okay, the technology industry, what does it mean? Let me just write it here. Is a tech industry. What does a tech industry mean? Tech industry, this is basically where the technology is involved. And as you see nowadays, there's something called the AI, that is artificial intelligence. And you can see the big wigs, that is the biggest countries here in this particular globe of ours. You've seen what they are doing actually. You've seen China and the US are competing who gonna be the king of the, who gonna be the king of the AI as far as the future is concerned. Some are producing their DeepSeek, others have their own Gemini, others have their own ChatGPT and what have you. So the industry of technology has a lot to be done. For example, nowadays you can get into the digital marketing. That is a whole industry that you can be able to make some cash out of. Nowadays, you can get into the area of web designing. You can get into the web development. You can get yourself into the graphic design. You can get yourself into, what we call, like whatever we do in content creation, like this platform that has actually been created by Google called YouTube. This is technology, and me and you, courtesy of Google and of course technology, we are able to conversate. You can be able to learn this idea. You can be able to invest. So technology, without a doubt, it's an industry in future, not even in the future. Right now, it's an industry that you should check out on how you can be able to make some cash out of it. Are we together? Because listen, technology, you can be able to use it either directly or indirectly. You can actually use it to learn, for you to get some skill, for you to trade those skills again on the same platform. Or you can use the technology. For example, if you go open, say, a live shop somewhere and you're doing it on the TikTok or something of sort, you can be able to be selling something there. Or you can be able to get something else like, affiliate marketing, drop shipping, and what have you. And you get yourself a trade or get yourself a shop there where you can be able to sell something. So technology is obviously, and you can be able to see it, that is actually doing good, and you can get an industry out of that. So the question is, how do you start a business on the technology? Just like I said, get yourself a skill, offer those services, solve people's problems, and get money in your pocket. Simple start. Okay, let's get to the last two, which are very, very important and essential. The last two, and the first one on the last two first is energy. Okay, energy. What does energy mean? I mean, this is that industry, obviously. I mean, go to Saudi Arabia, go to countries like are very wealthy, go to Saudi Arabia, Kuwait, Qatar, Bahrain. Those countries are very wealthy and rich because of energy, particularly the oil, okay? So if you can get yourself into this industry, though I'm gonna give you a disclaimer, this is an industry that getting into it is very, very tough and technical, because those people who are already in, they rarely make people get in easily, or they simply don't like deter you from getting to it. They actually set a bar too high. For example, in Kenya, and I stand corrected if you're in the oil industry, they say you must show a capacity of having at least $1 million, having it just hanging somewhere in account, just to prove you have the capacity to supply the oils and what have you. $1 million in Kenya, that's over 130 million Kenyan shilling. That's quite a huge chunk of cash altogether. So you find like not most of the people will actually manage to raise that amount of money. But of course, there are people who can be able to do that. Anyway, if you can get yourself into the energy industry, look, somebody like Aliko Dangote, arguably the most richest person in Africa, or not even in Africa, the black person, the most richest person on earth. He's in the industry of energy. He built the biggest, I don't know, what do you call it? This industry whereby they actually, it's all about oil, okay? So the point is, when it comes to energy, you can be able to get a business out of it. For example, you can do oils, you can do oil. You can also do something like solar or something of sort. You can also do something like, green energy. The world is actually trying to go the energy way. Nowadays, if you can have yourself a project whereby you can prove to whatever the relevant body that, hey, this product of yours that you have invented that is actually going to solve the climate change and what have you, boom, you get the finances, and you can be able to actualize your thing, and in the process you can be able to sell some of the product. So the industry of energy, it's actually an explorative industry whereby you can be able to make a huge chunk of cash. Allow me to handle the last one, which you will agree definitely, and which is healthcare. Okay, healthcare. Well, just avoid the word healthcare. Nowadays, it's more of a health industry than it is a healthcare. Now, this industry, a lot of people are misusing it. This is an industry, I can tell you for sure, that if you know what you're doing, because nowadays people want shortcuts. And whenever you realize that a community is becoming more lazier, want shortcuts, of course, those shortcuts comes with what? Repercussions. For instance, you find that people nowadays don't want to work, exercise their body. You find they're eating a lot of junks. You find that people don't even care about what they're exposing themselves into some things that are not okay. Then, of course, it means that those things probably, and God forbid, will come repercussions. And of course, healthcare will be needed. That's why you find that most of the wealthy people, you find like a cardiologist, you find like there are people who are neurologists, urologists, endocrinologists, and what have you. You realize that these people, oncologists, you find that these industries has a lot of money to be made. Why? Because you find this healthcare is very expensive, and of course you find if you go to a hospital, I mean, tell me on the comment section, how can you even bargain? Oh, cardiologist, you're charging this. Oh, okay, I don't have that, but you even hardly can bargain. On what basis do you even bargain? Why? There's something called the asymmetry of information, or symmetry of information, or something like that. You find the gap between those who knows and understand it, compared to those who do not know and do not understand it, is very big. How can I say it? Let's say, let's say an alien comes from a different planet and comes to our planet, and of course they have never seen a smartphone, they've never seen something like whatever I'm using, or like you find there is a very big gap between me, who understands all about cell phone probably, and somebody who has never even seen a cell phone. Actually, they don't even know what is a phone in the first place. So you are likely to be taken advantage of because of that big gap. So, and the reason why I usually bargain whenever you show up to a shop is because that gap between those who know it and you who is buying it, the gap is very small. So you already know it, okay? So that's why I always tell people, whenever you want to buy something, be it either a car, be it something, make sure that you what do we call it, you close the gap as much as possible. You equip yourself with understanding, because you usually bargain based on the what. Now, how can you even bargain from a cardiologist? Like, you know, it costs I mean, how can you even bargain about that? That's why when you go to a pharmacist, you rarely even bargain. Whatever price they tell you, you simply compare that with whatever you usually buy from a different place. But you can't say, hey, it's very hard. So healthcare, it's actually in an industry whereby you can be able to make some cash out of it. Somebody told me sometimes back that whenever lies a human weakness, there is a lot of money to be made. But of course, I hope when you get into this industry, you ain't gonna be an individual who takes advantage of the situation. Of course, when I say take, obviously you are taking advantage, because when someone is sick and of course they need the medicine and you sell to them, there's nothing wrong with doing that. I mean that extreme whereby you even cause some problems to actually solve. I mean that just have a little bit of human in you when you're getting to this industry. So anyway, those are 6 industries where if you get yourself into them, you are actually gonna make some cash out of it. This is Good Joseph, and as always, make sure that you stick and watch this video to the end, and of course make sure that you subscribe, and as well make sure that you go ahead and pick that number of mine if you need my services in one way or the other. See you in the next one.